Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Nitagor Haribo, 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 Gura Haribo, 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 Haribo. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Bhakti Sastri class. Before we start, we would like to say once again that those devotees who are consistent, starting from the beginning, we appreciate them a lot. And those who are coming late, we still appreciate them, but not as much as those who come from the beginning. Because this is a program that is about discipline, self-discipline. And your discipline starts with your attitude to the program itself, a measure of your discipline. So if inconsistency is the watchword from the onset, it creates a lot of doubt as to whether your focus is sharp. Remember, a lens will burn when the focal point is very sharp. A lens, like for instance, a converging lens, it gathers all the rays, all the incident rays, and focus them on a point called the focal point. The focal point is always behind the lens. And when rays are focused, that focal point is very, very sharp. Very, very sharp. It can burn. You see? So the focal point can burn when the rays are actually focused on the focal point. So if we intensify our focus, that is when we'll be able to bend all other forces towards that focus. So it tells a lot when our attitude to the classes are epileptic. Epileptic. Epilepsy is a disease. And if anything goes epileptic, it is in a disease condition of existence. Having said that, we want to start now. That in our last class, where did we conclude? What did we conclude? Krishna talked a lot about faith, developing faith, and the benefit of developing faith. Then he talked about three kinds of people who are faithless. If you develop faith and you participate in Krishna conscious activities, you will attain the desired goal. But if you are faithless, then you will not attain anything, because without faith, what can you do? Your actions will be very weak. You will not even go into action. Your faith must be strong. Then you'll be motivated to do action. Then there are three kinds of faithless people. One is a fool, again, ignorant person. He's ignorant about who God is. He's ignorant about a relationship with God. So it's faithless. You cannot expect him. You're like the animals. You don't expect animals to come and read scripture and begin to practice what is in Bhagavad Gita. So the lazy person. Then again, we have the type of person that is the doubter. Okay, the faithless, grossly faithless, the fool, the faithless, and the doubter. Ashradadana, Ashradadana, the faithless. Then we have the doubter. The doubter has knowledge about the scriptures. He has knowledge about many other scriptures, but his conclusion is affected. It's not strong. So he doubts. He doubts as to whether Krishna consciousness is actually the ultimate thing. If it has worked for other people, will it also work for me too if I practice it? So such a person doesn't participate with commitment and intensity. Is considered very, very unfortunate. So here, Krishna in the end concluded that therefore, when you hear therefore, it means I want to tell you what I've told you. It's a kind of internal summary. I have told you something, and now I want to remind you about what I've told you. Therefore, I said, therefore, the doubt which has arrived in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed with the weapon of knowledge. And what is that knowledge? Knowledge about your real identity, knowledge about your relationship with the Supreme. This is the type of knowledge. And how to act on that platform. That is the type of knowledge. And that knowledge, you get it from the spiritual master. So here, the beginning of chapter 5, Arjuna is trying to still find out to clarify what exactly Krishna meant, because Krishna talked a lot about jnana, renounced work, and he also talked about work in devotion. So these two things, like confusing Arjuna, I should renounce work, and at the same time I should work in devotion. What exactly do you mean? So Arjuna wanted to have a clearer understanding about what Niskama Kama Yoga is, or Bhagavad Arpita Niskama Kama Yoga. What exactly? So this is why Arjuna got a little bit confused. So he wants to clarify, and his question it begins with this chapter with the question. It begins the chapter with the question. Arjuna is still confused, though he has had transcendental knowledge from Krishna. Yes, in text 16 to 18 of the fourth chapter, Krishna glorified jnana and spoke of action in inaction and inaction in action. In text 41, Krishna glorified both jnana and renunciation. Then in text 42, he again ordered Arjuna to fight. Therefore, chapter 5 opens with a question similar to the one Arjuna asked at the beginning of chapter 3, which is better, work or renunciation of work. So he wants more clarification because he's getting more confused about the seemingly equivocal instructions of Krishna. Say, do this, do this. Where is the harmonious point? Where do these two things meet? Is it mutually exclusive, either this or that? I should do either this or that, or they are collectively exhaustive? This is the question. Work in devotion and renunciation of work, are they mutually exclusive, or they are collectively exhaustive? So this is the question Arjuna is asking. Which one should I do? Is it a matter of either this or that, or there is a blend of both? This is the question Arjuna asked. So, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Arjuna Uvacha, Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna, Puna Yogam Shasam Sasi, Yakshreya Itayo Ekam, Tanme Bruhi Nishitam. Arjuna said, Oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me Krishna's work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? Which one of the two is more beneficial? Work in devotion or renunciation of work? You told me to renounce work, and now you are telling me to work in devotion. Which one is better? Tell me decisively. So the question is, are they mutually exclusive? Is it an either or affair? Are they mutually exclusive? That means in the presence of one, the other is absent? Or they are collectively exhaustive? That means there should be some harmonious point, there should be some equilibrium point. How do these two harmonize? Or where do I start from? Do I do this or do that? Either work in devotion or renunciation of work. So this is the question. So somebody should read the purport.
Purport. In this 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because being transcendental in nature, it's free one from reaction. In the 2nd chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. How to get out of this material engagement by Buddhi yoga or devotional service was also explained therein. In the 3rd chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duty to perform. And in the 4th chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kind of sacrificial work accumulates in knowledge. However, at the end of the 4th chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, the simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and in action in knowledge. Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyas or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activities, because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. He inquires, therefore, whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, what do you get from this? Renunciation of work means Jnana Yoga or somebody practicing karma sannyas. You give up working. You abandon your work. You abandon your prescribed duty. Then you go and practice yoga, because when you meditate, you are not going to be violent physically, and you are going to be going into yourself to realize yourself. And it's like higher, ordinarily speaking. is higher than going into physical action. So Krishna is actually trying to stress the point that we should walk in devotion. We should not renounce work, but we should walk in a devotion. That means we should work as a matter of duty for the pleasure of a higher being. We should walk in devotion. There should be devotion. There should be somebody we want to please with our work, so that while doing the work, we should not be attached to the result of the work, but rather we should do it as a way of wanting to please the person who has set the mechanism in motion. We want to please God by our action, and we want to show example to others that it is better to do your work than to abandon it. Don't abandon your responsibilities. Do your responsibilities as a matter of devotion, as a matter of sacrifice. So this is what Krishna wants to explain. But it puts Arjuna into a kind of confusion, because the instruction looks a little bit equivocal, a little bit contradictory. You told me to work. You told me to avoid work, to renounce work. But at the same time, you are telling me to work in devotion. So where do they meet? Where do they meet? You see, it's not that actually Arjuna is in ignorance, but Krishna himself tried to confuse Arjuna more, so that Arjuna can ask these questions for clarification, for our own benefits. It is for the sake of us, we who are coming to practice, that Arjuna appears to be in ignorance, asking these questions. Arjuna wants Krishna to speak more on this work in devotion. So he's acting as if confused. You tell me to renounce work on one hand, and on the other hand, you are telling me to work in devotion. So where do they meet? Are they mutually exclusive? Is it either or affair, or is collectively exhaustive? So we are going to see the answer that Krishna gave to Arjuna. Yes, Krishna wants to speak more on it, and is inducing Arjuna to ask this question so that he can use the opportunity to explain it more. Because to walk in devotion is the ultimate thing. The ultimate thing is to walk in devotion. As long as we are in this world, we have to work for the pleasure of God and not becoming active. So in other words, Krishna is still refusing that Arjuna should leave the battlefield. Rather, he should stay and do his duty as a Kshatriya and get purified in the process. Before you can renounce work, you must first become purified. Why? Because when working in renunciation, when working for the pleasure of God, there will be purification. And it is that purification that will now qualifies you to renounce eventually. So working in renunciation strengthens our knowledge. It awakens our knowledge of what exactly we should do, how to do it, and why we should do it. So Krishna is trying to use the opportunity to put Arjuna into more confusion. Apparently, in a confused state, he will ask the questions. Then Krishna will use the opportunity to explain deeper and deeper as to what exactly it means by acting in renunciation. What do you renounce? It is the result of the work you should renounce, but you should do the work without attachment to the result. This is called Niskama Kama Yoga. And as long as you are doing this, you eventually arrive. That's why previously I advised that as devotees, we should not try to be seen as great devotees. Rather, we should try to be good devotees. To be a good devotee means do your work and consistently do your work and leave the rest. Just do your work consistently. Try to practice devotional service, following regulatory principles, controlling your mind and senses, studying scriptures, serving devotees, serving the Lord, talking about it. Just consistently do this. Don't be in a hurry to be seen as a great devotee. We should not be in a hurry to be seen as great devotees, because That sense of greatness, that greatness indicates, it connotes that we want to be seen as very advanced over others. There is false ego in it. There is false pride in it. There is a sense of superiority, false sense of superiority inside. So anyone who says want to be seen, I want to be seen as a great devotee, there is something wrong. So Krishna just wants us to be good devotees. Good devotee means you just do your duty without attachment, consistently, unconditionally, do your duty. When you get purified, Krishna himself will make you a great devotee. Don't be in a hurry to be a great devotee, Prabhu. Just do your work and let Krishna make you great along the line. That's why those who desire to become great, if you are desiring a devotee, you are desiring something very, very serious, and that thing is not coming, maybe you are desiring some position. The position is not coming the way you want it. It's Krishna who is observing and is watching you, that if you get this position without enough purification, you will become offensive. And in the process, you can be electrocuted by that position. So he watches you. That when you are in the proper mental attitude, when you are working in proper attitude, Krishna himself will now make you great. That's why when you are desiring something, you are struggling for it, you are not getting it. At the very moment you just give up that idea, attachment to wanting to get the thing and try to be normal, that's the time that Krishna gives you the thing. He sees that you have attained some purification. Therefore, you can handle it. Then at that point, he grants you that thing. This is how the whole thing works. So rather than trying to be seen as a great devotee, we should just try to be good devotees and consistently do our work. So let us see Krishna's answer. We should not run to wanting to renounce prematurely. Test 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karau Ubau Tayastu Kama Sannyasat Karma Yogo Visisyate. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So this is a specific answer. There is somebody with us who have been away for quite a long time. We have missed the person, the devotee, for some time. And the person is here today. So let that person read the purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Read
So
the
I
purport for us. Yes.
Purport. Fruitive activities seeking sense gratification are cause for material bondage. As long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, thereby continuing perpetually. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4-6 confirm this as follows. Please, I will read the translation.
Let me read the Sanskrit for you. But next time you have to now listen so that you can also learn how to do the Sanskrit. Nunam pramate kurute nunam pramata kurute vikamam yad indriya pritaya aprinoti nasadumaye yata atmanoyam asan apiklesa da asadeha prabhava stavat abudajato yavana jinyasata atmatatvam yavad kriya savadidamano vai Kamatmakam yena sarira banda. Evam mana karma vasam prayukte. Avidyat mani upadiyamane. Priti na yavamayi vasudeve. Namuchyate dehayogena tavat. Continue.
People are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of misery, is a result of one's fruitive activity. Temporary. It is always given one trouble Dear is not good. One is as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results, for sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activity and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. Therefore, jnana or knowledge that one is not this material body but spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. One has to, otherwise there is no escape from material bondage. Action in Krishna consciousness is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthens one's advancement in real knowledge. Without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activity does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps one escape the result of fruitive action so that one need not descend to the material platform. Therefore, action in Krishna consciousness is always superior to which always entails a risk of falling is incomplete, as is confirmed by Sri Rasamrita C 258. Taya Buddhya Har Stunan Muntu Subi Prabrityagu Vairagyam Fagu Katyate. When persons eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, their renunciation is called incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord, and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then, where is the question of renunciation? One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of the Mayavadi school. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is very, very serious and very salient purport. That Krishna is specifically answering Arjuna's question. That for the wise man, he knows that renunciation of work and work in devotion, they are both good for liberation. They are one. But of the two, work in devotion is better than renunciation of work. Renunciation of work can also eventually take you to the platform of understanding Krishna. But it takes a very long time and it's very, very rigorous. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It is the same result you are going to get, but it takes you a very long time. You have to pass through so many temptations here and there before finally you will come and arrive there. But the one who takes work in devotion is already straight, engaged. Is engaged directly in the service of God. It's like somebody who is already watering the root to the tree of life. Because action in devotional service means you are directly watering the root. You already know that Krishna is the root, and the devotional service means the process of watering the root. And when the root is watered, automatically everything else falls in place. So you are already there, engaged in watering the root under the guidance of the spiritual master and other devotees. While the Jnani is looking for the root everywhere. He's still looking for the root, going from planet to planet, looking for the root. But a Bhakta is already engaged in watering the root. When the Jnani eventually arrives after a long time, he will also start the watering process. So the two will lead to the same destination, but one takes a very longer, troublesome process, whereas one is just direct to the point. So this is the difference between the two. Therefore, work in devotion is glorified over renunciation of work. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita somewhere, Krishna says, Bhaunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudrulabha. That after many, many births and deaths of cultivating knowledge, practicing Gyan, finding the root, eventually, when one becomes fortunate, you will come to realize that Vasudeva is the root, is the source of everything. And that is after many, many births and deaths of searching for the truth before you come to that final conclusion. The conclusion that the devotee is already acting on directly from the beginning under the guidance of the spiritual master. So it is very, very important that we appreciate the process of devotional service as brought to us by the pure devotees. And we can see the purport is so sweet, and before then also in the purpose, the Prabhupada mentioned that action in Krishna consciousness is not, however, action on the spiritual platform. That fruitive activities will take a long time before you get purification. You will not even get purification first. When you are acting and you are renouncing the result of your action, when you are acting as a matter of sacrifice for the pleasure of God, which is devotional service, you acquire immediate realization, purification, and even after becoming purified, you will continue to engage in those activities because those are the ultimate activities. Therefore, action in Krishna consciousness is not on the fruitive platform. It is directly for the pleasure of Krishna, and you get realized knowledge, real knowledge. That without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart. Therefore, there's a term called Kama Sannyasi. Kama Sannyasi. A Kama Sannyasi renounces work, but is not internally purified of desires for sense gratification. It is called premature renunciation. He still has desire for sense gratification, but externally is wearing the dress of a renunciant. That is a Kama Sannyas. It's like, yes, somebody licking the external bottle of the honey without really getting to the contents inside. So it cannot be compared to the one who is directly licking the honey, which is inside the bottle. So action in Krishna consciousness or Niskama Kama Yoga, as explained by Krishna, doing your work, renouncing the fruit, attachment to the fruit, work in detachment, work in devotion, work in detachment, work for the pleasure of Krishna, work as a matter of showing example to others without attachment to the result. Working unconditionally in service of God is actually superior. See? And therefore, those who are renounced externally without proper Krishna conscious engagement, their renunciation is considered incomplete. And why? Because it does not purify the heart. And here, Rupa Goswami made a quotation that when persons eager to achieve liberation renounces things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, their renunciation is called incomplete. Like somebody say, as you are now, as we are now, we say, okay, we are renounced. So we don't touch clothes, we don't touch car, we don't touch anything. We don't want to because they will contaminate us. We don't want to associate with anything in this world. So instead of even living in the city among the people, we may decide to go to the forest because associating with people will contaminate us. We go to the forest and we go on. But say that kind of renunciation is incomplete because everything actually belongs to God. The one who knows that everything belongs to God, he has nothing to renounce. All what he has to renounce is his false ego of thinking himself to be the proprietor. Once you realize that everything belongs to God, then you participate in the science of engaging everything in the service of God. Therefore, a devotee can use microphone, he can use telephone, he can use mobile phone, he can use car, he can use everything that is in this material world, but in the service of the Lord. So that renunciation is complete, as opposed to the incomplete renunciation, whereby one avoids things, thinking them to be material, not seeing the connection of everything with Krishna. See, so one is incomplete renunciation, and the other one is complete renunciation. So devotees are encouraged to engage in this complete renunciation, whereby we see everything as Krishna's property, and thereby engaging everything in the service of the Lord as proper utilitarians. A devotee, true devotee, is a utilitarian. He utilizes everything in the service of the Lord, knowing fully well that everything belongs to the Lord. Okay? And that is what Rupa Goswami is encouraging us to do. The renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord, and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. Once you understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone, then where's the question of renunciation? All what you need to renounce is the mentality of lording it over. Okay, so everything is good in this world, provided it is dovetailed in the service of the Lord. One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. If you truly know this, that everything belongs to God, you will not falsely claim proprietorship. You will not try to enjoy the fruits. You will not try to enjoy everything without their connection with Krishna. No, since everything belongs to somebody, you work, you can enjoy the things, but you have to recognize the owner of everything so that your work will not become like toxic. You don't attract sinful reactions. You should not be like a thief who enters the garden and sees everything in the garden, start enjoying it without thinking that these things belong to somebody. And therefore, you need to take permission from the person. You see? So this perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi or the Mayavadis. So this is the difference between the Mayavadi sannyasis and the Krishna conscious sannyasi. The Krishna conscious sannyasi is always active in the service of the Lord. He learns the art and science of engaging everything in the service of the Lord. He's happily doing this. He can sing, he can dance, he can study scriptures, he can speak philosophy, he interacts with people, but all in the service of the Lord, as opposed to the Mayavadi sannyasi who refuse to touch anything, raise his hand, go into the forest to say that it will fall down in due course of time because it is renunciation without purification. What will purify you? Engaging everything in the service of the Lord, as in Bhagavad Arpita, Niskama Kama Yoga. It is that brings about purification. And when one is purified, naturally one will renounce. And one who is walking in that consciousness that everything belongs to God, including myself, and who is trying to engage everything in the service of the Lord, he participates in everything. He participates in the enjoyment, everything, but as a matter of prasad, taking the Lord's mercy, and is doing everything in the service of the Lord. So our activities should be regulated by the injunctions of the scriptures, and we continue to act in Krishna consciousness. This is what is being called. This is called the perfect form of renunciation, action in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So that is it. Krishna is emphasizing that one in knowledge should also do work. You do your work as a matter of sacrifice for the pleasure of God. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Otherwise, verse 3. Working in renunciation strengthens one's work, and it purifies one from within to without. One becomes a naturally good devotee, and you'll be promoted by Krishna to become great devotee. Verse 3. Gyeyasa nitya sannyasi yona dwesti nakangshati niridvangvohi mahabhau sukam bandhat pramunshati. One who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcome material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty Arjuna. Purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, carry on.
One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the result of his actions. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and he is part and part because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Knowledge that one is one in quantity yet different, that one is one in quality yet different in quantity, is correct transcendental knowledge, leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire to or lament over. There is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus freed from the platform of duality, he is liberated even in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you got it right. You got it right. You got it right. That one who knows that he is part and parcel of Krishna, that is minutely great, while Krishna is supremely great. Therefore, his relationship with Krishna, his renunciation, his practice of renunciation will be like a particle of gold in relationship with the gold mine. That is the oneness, the type of oneness. The particle is qualitatively one with the whole. The particle of gold has the same quality with the gold mine, as much as the particle of a drop of water has the same quality as the ocean of water, which is liquidity. Just like a grain of sugar has the same quality with large quantity of sugar, which is sweetness. Just as a grain of salt has the same quality as the big deposit of salt, which is saltiness. So similarly, we are also eternal as Krishna is eternal, but we are minutely eternal while Krishna is supremely eternal. So perfection means for the parts to function in harmony with the whole. The particle of gold should be in the gold mine. That is perfection. But this is opposed to the understanding of oneness propagated by the Mayavadi philosophers. They are thinking that the oneness means you merge into God and you lose your identity and individuality. No. Our understanding or devotional understanding, which is the mature understanding, is that we are individuals and God is individual. But at the time of perfection, our individuality is subordinated to the supremacy of the Supreme, whereby we are working in harmony with the Supreme. That is perfection of individuality. So perfection of individuality is to work in harmony with the Supreme. Not that you lose your identity by merging into the Supreme and become one with the Supreme. No. Differently explained, it is also like a green bird entering a green tree. When a bird flies into a green tree, it appears to be one with the tree. But as soon as there is some sun, you see the bird flies out. You see, his individuality is intact. So similarly, we are individual living entities, but we are eternal as God is also eternal. So qualitatively, we are one with God, but quantitatively, we are different. Why? Because the whole maintains the parts. It is God that maintains every living entity. Even though we are both eternal, one is being maintained by the other. So the maintainer is the supreme and the maintained is the minute. So harmonious relationship means the minute working according to the desires of the whole. This is called perfection. Krishna consciousness is meant to bring us to this level of perfection, but not to make us lose our identity and merge with the Lord and become inactive. No, we perfect our relationship with the Lord in service. So three things remain. In Krishna consciousness perfection, the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and that which connects the Lord and the devotee is there. Bhakta, Bhakti, Bhagavan. The devotee is the Bhakta. Bhakti is the process that connects the Bhakta with the Bhagavan. Bhagavan is Krishna. So these three things remain. BBB. Bhakta, Bhakti, Bhagavan. Okay? It's not that Bhakta becomes one with Bhagavan. So Bhakta loses his identity at the time of perfection. No. These three eternally exist. The Supreme Lord, the supremely eternal, the individual living entity is minutely eternal, and that's which connects the two of them, devotion, is also eternal. So this is the basis of the philosophy of personalism. God is a person, we are also persons. One is the supreme person, and one is the subordinate persons. Onyeka God Jehovah. Bhakti Onyeka, are you lying down or you are lying down? Learn the discipline of sitting down in class. Otherwise, it promotes laxity and lack of attentiveness and distraction, both self-distraction and distraction of others. So, so be disciplined. Sit down. Okay, as a student sit down to learn, even take notes. Oh, Jagan, stop. Sorry, somebody is calling me. More. So, Prabhuji, sorry for the distraction. Sorry for the distraction. Okay, so that is it. We are minutely eternal. You don't merge into God at the time of perfection. Your individuality still remains. So your devotional service remains even after liberation. That is it. You don't become inactive after you get liberated. Okay? So you have to practice how to serve the Lord consistently here. There is never a time when you will know you will stop serving. Because that is your eternal relationship with God. Service is your relationship with God. Okay. Thank you. That is the purport of this verse. Are there some questions or commentaries on this? Otherwise, verse 4. Sankhya Yoga Pritangvala Pravadanti Napandita Ekam Api Asita Samyak Ubayo Vindate Phalam. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service. Karma Yoga has been different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Purport, please.
Purport. The aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, or the supersoul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the supersoul. One process is to find the roots of the tree, and the other is to water the roots. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then, in perfect knowledge, engages himself in the service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end says that the purposes of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same. But one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the two are one, as we have heard directly from Srila Prabhupada also. Because one process is somebody is finding the root. He's looking for the root. He has not found it. But somebody is already there watering the root. So when eventually the person who went long distance, who made the solar journey, eventually arrived at the root, he will have to start doing the activities of watering the root, which the other person is already doing. So the two processes lead to the same destination, but one is quicker, like an elevator to the 20th floor of a building, while the other one is following, climbing the step by step, one by one, until it gets to the 20th. The one who enters the elevator is already there watering, doing the thing there. And he can even finish eating, finish bathing, put on tilak before this other person will arrive. So that is it. Sankhya philosophy leads to the same destination as Karma Yoga or Niskama Karma Yoga in this case. They lead to the same destination. But Niskama Karma Yoga is direct engagement in devotional service. While Sankhya philosophy, the Sankhya process is through meditations and it takes very long time. And the process is very rigorous. It requires a lot of attention and intensity. And it is actually not recommended in this age. So, but the devotee devotional service is recommended because it is very easy and it is the most sublime process. Yes. And these two processes can also be performed as one step. That means by picking up one object, I will automatically drop the other. Karma Yoga done with detachment allows us to become materially detached and spiritually attached simultaneously. And this topic will now be further discussed. How devotional service, engagement in devotional service will bring about material detachment and spiritual attachment simultaneously. See, and that is the beauty of activity, dynamic activities, not inactivity. Dynamic activities. By engaging in actions in Krishna consciousness, one automatically gets material detachment and simultaneously spiritual attachment. So the process is replacing lower engagement with higher engagement. and purification will take place and realization will take place automatically. Verse 5. Yat sankyai prapyate stanam tad yogai apigamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha ya pasyati sapasyati. One who knows the position reached, one who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. Purpose.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Carry on.
The real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of life. Since the ultimate goal of life is self-realization, there is no difference between the conclusion reached by the two processes. By Sankhya philosophical research, one comes to the conclusion that a living entity is not a part and parcel of the material world, but of the Supreme Spirit whole. Consequently, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His action must be in some relation with the Supreme. When he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is actually on his constitutional position. In the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Factually, both processes are the same, although superficially, one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. Detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can see clearly two processes. Sankhya is the first process, and one has to become detached from matter. And in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. In Sankhya, you practice detachment, negation. You meditate. This body is full of miseries, so let me avoid engaging the senses in their contact with their objects. You use your intelligence and you gradually negate. This is a negative process. Excluding yourself, you conquering one or the other. Then in the end, the other process is that you are engaging, you have renounced the negative activities, the don'ts. That we say no illicit, no gambling, no intoxication. You do the no. Then what are the positive things you should do? Because there should be the right hand. There are don'ts and there should be do. So the do's are that you should engage positively in devotional activities. You don't eat boga, but you eat prashadam. You don't dance comic songs, but you dance spiritual songs. You don't sing comic songs, but you sing Krishna conscious songs. You don't engage in mental speculation, but you engage in philosophical speculation. In this way, replacing lower engagements with higher engagements. This is the principle. But engagement must be there. So Krishna consciousness is not inactivity. We do not promote inactivity. We do not promote laziness. But we are saying that we should replace lower engagements with higher engagements. Sing for Krishna, dance for Krishna, play instruments for Krishna, eat for Krishna. This is action in Krishna concept. Positive. One who sees these two to be the same is the actual seer. This is the purport of this verse. Yes, because it is simultaneous detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna. So there is attachment and there is detachment. You detach from the negative, then you attach to the positive. So one who sees these two as the same is the actual seer. For instance, in text 4 or the verse 4 begin with Sankhya Yoga. Here, Sankhya refers to Jnana and Yoga refers to Niskama Kama Yoga. You see? So Jnana by Jnana you renounce. Krishna clearly recommends devotional service, Kama Yoga, as the better means to achieve the goal. Even though both Jnana and Kama Yoga lead to the same thing, Stanam Saswatam, or the supreme eternal abode. It is important to understand that Krishna is not speaking about a variety of paths leading to a variety of inferior or superior destinations. No, rather, Krishna is describing two aspects of a path, two aspects of the same path. One is easy path, and the other one is a difficult path. The difficult path will still lead you to the same destination. But why take the difficult path when there is an easy path? So this is it. The difficult path will get you there after a very long time and so many trials and tribulations, but the easy path will just take you directly there. So these verses, are applicable to anyone trying to obtain the different aspects of God realization. Some people are aspiring for Brahman realization. Some people are aspiring for Paramatma realization. Some people are aspiring for Bhagavan realization. So the Bhagavan realization is the superset. Paramatma realization is a subset because it is a realization of an aspect of Krishna. Brahman realization is a realization of an aspect of Krishna. But Bhagavan realization is a realization of the whole, the totality of Krishna. So Brahman realization is a subset. Paramatma realization is a subset. But Bhagavan realization is a superset. So when you are situated in the superset, automatically the subsets are included. As much as when you have $1,000, automatically you have $800, you have $500, you have $300, you have $200, you have $20, you have $1. But if you have $50, $500, you are not having $1,000. This is the difference. So within the superset, the subset is automatically included. Okay? So this is how to understand it. This is how to approach it. That if we renounce activities before our hearts are clean, we'll be forced by our unclean hearts to engage in improper activities. So we should not be rushing. We should not be rushing. We should do the devotional activities. That from the onset, these activities will cleanse our hearts and we have direct realization. But we are so much interested in becoming renounced and we don't want to follow the process of engaging in devotional service. Then we complicate things for ourselves. So the senses will demand engagement, but the Jnana Yoga process forbids sense activity unless the senses are engaged in good work. It will be difficult to stop improper work. This is the formula. You cannot tell somebody to stop, don't sing. But the propensity to sing is there. So what do? It is don't sing mundane songs, but you should sing songs glorifying God. It is easier to practice like this, replacing lower engagement with higher engagements. And this is the process of Krishna consciousness. It's very beautiful. That's why a devotee is active. He dresses nicely. He goes into the town. He's meeting people. He's interacting with people. And he comes back. He eats. He do everything, but all his activities are qualified by devotional standards. He has given up lower engagements with higher engagements. This is the difference. He doesn't read mundane literatures, but he reads devotional literatures. He doesn't drink alcohol, but he drinks juice. He drinks natural orange juice, fruit juice of all kinds. He drinks them, but he does not drink alcohol.
He drink Fanta.
He does not eat boga. He does not eat meat or fish or eggs, but he eats fruits and vegetables and prashadam,
Sugar.
socially cooked and offered. He takes it, follows it very nicely, and asks for more. And sometimes even quarrel when he doesn't have it. He confronts somebody. Why didn't I get? He's a yogi. He's a yogi. His mate in Guyana yoga is sitting quietly. He does not eat. He's even trying to stop breathing. Why? Yeah, a Bhakti yogi is struggling for prasad. He chastised somebody. Why you didn't serve me prasad? Don't know I'm there. So which one is sweeter? When you can eat prasadam and you dance ketan until your two legs will be going off the ground at the same time. Who can dance more than devotee without taking intoxication? Without drinking alcohol? A devotee is dancing till the two legs are off the ground at the same time.
The best dancer is African devotee. Confirmed. That has been confirmed. The best dancer is African devotee.
Yes, they are the African devotees now. You cannot compare now. You cannot compare. If you go everywhere, you see African devotees, they are the best dancers. And any theatre, they call for them. They are the best singers, they are the best Medanga players. Oh. So this is a very beautiful dancing yoga. This is dancing yoga and prasadam eating yoga, as opposed to the yoga of sitting in quiet place, meditating with closed eyes. So this is very beautiful and dynamic. And this is what we have that Prabhupada has given to us. So let us take it very nicely, do it, that it will be, unless the senses are engaged in work, good work, it will be difficult to stop improper work. So we should learn the good work that we should engage in, all devotional activities, we should enthusiastically participate. Krishna therefore recommends keeping the senses always engaged, while simultaneously purifying the heart by working with detachment. This is the more practical and therefore superior part. And the comparison between the two parts constitutes the following verse. Verse 6. In verse 6, we are going to compare the two parts, and we see the law of contrasts in action. The law of contrasts. When things of opposite nature are juxtaposed, when they are placed side by side, their differences become more glaring. This is the law of contrast. So 6, and we are going to stop here after this verse. Sanyasastu mahabhao dukam aptum ayogata yoga yukto muni brahma na chirena adiga shati. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord, cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. A thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So this is a comparison. The comparison between the two parts, working in devotion and renouncing devotional work. And this will be the end of this particular session. After this session, there's another session from 7 to 12. Yes, where the practice of Niskama Kama Yoga is being enumerated. So let us do this comparison and end the class. Purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Keep it up.
There are two classes of science or persons in the renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sciences are engaged in study of Sankhya philosophy, whereas the Vaishnava sciences are engaged in the study of Bhagavatam philosophy, which afford the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sciences also study the Vedanta Sutras, but use their own commentaries called
Sarirabhasya.
Saryakabhashya, written by Sankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord according to Pankarakriti regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sciences have multiple engagements in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sciences have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sciences engage in the study of Sankhya and Vedanta, and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord. Because their studies become very tedious, they sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation, and thus they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Dry speculation and impersonal interpretation by artificial means are all useless for the Mayavadi sciences. The Vaishnava sciences who are engaged in devotional service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sciences sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into material activity of a philanthropy and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagement. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness activities are better situated than the sciences engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So which one is better? The Mayavadi philosophers who are absorbed in mental speculation as to what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, their path is very, very difficult and risky. Because their spirit soul, you cannot remain inactive. So after attaining high level of advancement, sometimes they fall down again and come and begin to engage in philanthropic activities, altruistic activities, setting up, establishing hospitals, orphanage homes, doing this and that philanthropic work, because the soul is by nature active. Yes, but their philosophy is trying to make the soul inactive. That is, you merge, perfection means you merge into nothingness. So you that is something now become nothing in the end. It doesn't work. Why? Because we are not these bodies, we are spirit soul. The spirit soul is by nature eternal and is full of knowledge and full of activities. It cannot remain inactive. So the signs of positive engagement, whereby you replace lower engagement with higher engagement, it is secure. It is happily done. Understand? Though devotees also engage in speculation, but there is a difference between mental speculation and philosophical speculation. A devotee engages in philosophical speculation. Philosophical speculation means evaluating things based on Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. Is this in line with what we are saying? Is it in line with what the Guru said? Is it in line with what the scripture said? Is it in line with what the Sadhu, the holy man, says? Mental speculation means depending on your own mind to figure out things. The mind is limited, it's fraught with imperfections, and is subject to making mistakes. So if you base your speculation, if you base all your meditation, all your activities on your mental capabilities, you cannot go beyond the range of your mental confinement. So you eventually see yourself lacking, and if we fall short of the ultimate understanding. Where philosophical speculation, you are evaluating things based on Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. If the thing is in line with the Gurus, what the Guru said, how the holy men have lived it, and also what the scriptures, whether the scriptural injunction is in line with what the Gurus, then you are on the path of philosophical speculation. Philosophical speculation is allowed, but mental speculation is not allowed in Krishna consciousness. I think. How much can you think rightly? How much can you think rightly? How much of yourself do you understand? This is mental speculation. I think it should be like this. If it's not like this, it should be like this. You will end up getting more and more confused. But in philosophical speculation, you immediately can measure, is this in line with the Guru, Sadhu, Sastra? Are there some scriptural references to what you are saying? You can challenge somebody. Say, oh, the moon is 200 million miles away. Is there any scriptural reference to that? Then, if there is none, then put it aside. If it is based in manufacture from your mental factory, that is your own mental concussion. So this is our standards to evaluate whether we are off course or we are on course, so that we can guide ourselves from getting lost in the wilderness of philosophical speculation or mental speculation. So that is it. The scientists generally, they follow the process of mental speculation and they end up getting confused. They try to know the origin of death. They try to understand what time is by their own mental. They are overtaken by death in the process. The devotees, they try to understand based on scriptural revelations, how the holy men have confirmed it, how the gurus also confirm it. So their process is safer. And that is the process we follow. And that process we engage in, devotees are engaged in pancharatrika vidhi activity. Pancharatrika vidhi means nobody in this age is actually qualified. We are not qualified to do devotional activities or rituals. But once we have a little inclination for becoming good, that little spark of wanting to be good is taken and it is fun. And based on that, you are given opportunity to serve, to purify yourself and become that. This is the process of Pancharatrika Vidhi. We are not qualified, but we are being given opportunity because we have a modicum of goodness or wanting to do the right. So we are encouraged So that is the process that we follow it.
Ó lọ jẹ́ wọ́n mi lọ́rẹ́ ẹ̀kan báyọ̀, gbogbo wa máa tẹ̀lé wọn ní tẹ̀kù.
Balabada Prabhu, no, mute yourself. Balabada Prabhu, mute yourself. Thank you for muting. So this is the process. This is the comparative analysis. Devotional activities or engagement in devotional service as enunciated, systematically in the scripture is superior to mental speculation, carried on by the Mayavadi sannyasis. Therefore, a Vaishnava sannyasi is more secure than a Mayavadi sannyasis. A Mayavadi sannyasi is karma sannyasa, and their situation is very, 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 very precarious. And the Vaishnava sannyasis, they are internal. They target internal purification. When they become internally purified, automatically they become steady in their Krishna consciousness. Whereas the Mayavadi philosophies are based on external. Their sannyasis, they are based on externals. And in that external, the dress is more important than the consciousness. So in that way, you can wear sannyas dress and you see yourself doing abominable activities. Yes, so we should stick to the devotional process, which is very, very purifying. And if we are there, we are actually safe. Let's follow the safe path, the path that is being solidified and authenticated by Guru Sadhu Sastra, and be secured in the end. So thank you very much. And as we said, in the next session, which is verses 7 to 12, we are going to see more how to practice Niskama Kama Yoga. That is our class for tomorrow. How do we practice Niskama Kama Yoga? Verses 7 to 12. You can read ahead, verses 7 to 12. Niskama Kama Yoga. How do we practice this most glorified Niskama Kama Yoga? Niskama Kama Yoga or Bhagavad Arpita Niskama Kama Yoga means you are doing the karma, but this karma is aimed at pleasing the Supreme. You are doing activities for the pleasure of the Supreme. So you are attached to the activity, but you are detached from the result. And your degree of detachment increases as you advance until you are working, but all your work is meant for glorifying God without any degree of attachment, complete renunciation. Then meditation on the Supreme is added. And meditation is added, then devotion is added. Then you become fully purified, cleansed of all misgivings, as opposed to the Mayavadi philosophers who are busy speculating, trying to become impersonal, wanting to merge into the Supreme without activity in the end. They fall down, become philanthropists, and they begin to do all kinds of humanitarian activities, missing the ultimate goal of Bhakti. So Bhakti or Vaishnava sannyasis are better situated than Mayavadi sannyasis. And Karma sannyasis are Mayavadi sannyasis, and we should avoid that as much as possible. The renunciation remains complete when everything is seen in relationship with the Supreme, and everything is engaged in the service and for the pleasure of the Supreme. That is complete renunciation. But a renunciation that do not see things in relationship with the Supreme, it is called incomplete renunciation or falgu renunciation. We should avoid it. Avoid it as much as possible and stay glued to the proper renunciation where things are engaged. We don't avoid anything. After all, everything belongs to God. So perfection means learning the art and science of engaging everything in the service of the Lord. And becoming situated in that, we are secured. We are happy now. We can take prasadam while doing yoga, and in the end, we can go back home, back to Godhead. So thank you very much. On this note, we bring the class to a closure. And we are seeing a personality just appear here to close the class. His great Purushotama Yatra has finally just come to close the class.
I get it very well.
He didn't come. He just come to close the class. Purushotama Yatra, you have been one of our students, but today you come to close the class.
Yeah, I said last prayer.
Even at that, you are still better than those who didn't come at all. So you are the best among the latest comers. Oh, best among the latest comers. Welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I will see you in temple when I come after this. We are ready to come. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much once again. And
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Dr. thank you very much.
I have some question.
Okay. Ask briefly.
Sannyasi and philosopher, is it the same? Is the word the same?
Sannyasi and what?
Philosopher.
Philosopher.
Okay. No, they are not the same. They are not the same, but the type of philosopher here, there is a sannyasi that is a philosophical sannyasi, more on the Jnana platform. They are sannyasis, but they are all very philosophically situated also. So a sannyasi must be a great philosopher actually, but your philosophy is either impersonal philosophy, whereby you say God is nothing or God is a light, or perfection means you are merging into God and you become inactive after perfection. That kind of philosophy is not complete philosophy. It is recognized as philosophy, but not complete philosophy. A complete philosophy is that which sees your relationship with Krishna, the philosophy that is able to recognize the relationship between all living entities and Krishna, the philosophy that is able to see God as the source of everything and everything else as servant. That kind of philosophy is Vaishnava philosophy. The sannyasi who holds on to that philosophy is a Vaishnava philosophy, a Vaishnava sannyasi. But the sannyasi that hold on to the Mayavadi philosophy is a Mayavadi philosopher. He's a philosopher. Okay? You cannot be a sannyasi without philosophy. Your philosophy, the philosophy of the sannyasis and that of the Mayavadi is different. And the results are also different. So in the last verse we read now, it's a comparison between the Vaishnava philosopher and the Mayavadi philosopher. And the conclusion is that the Vaishnava philosopher is better because it gives complete security as opposed to that of the Mayavadi. So Mayavadi's sannyasis are philosophers, but different type of sannyasis following different types of philosophy. A philosophy, see, there are three aspects of God realization. One is Brahman, one is Paramatma, and one is Bhagavan. Those who follow these three paths, they are all philosophers. But their philosophy has limitations based on the results they get. The Brahman philosophers, they merge into Brahman. The ultimate goal is to merge into the supreme light. Yes, that is their ultimate goal. And when you enter into that light, you become nothing. But as a soul, you need to act. So after staying there for some time, the desire to act will come up again. Then you will come out of that. Then they fall down to earth to become philanthropists and all that, begin to do altruistic activities. So, but then the Gyanis, they are Paramatma Vadis. They meditate on the aspect of the Lord, which is the super soul, the Lord in the heart. And when they attain there, their goal is to have mystic powers and all that, and they get it. But it doesn't it doesn't give them complete satisfaction. Yes, it doesn't give them complete satisfaction until when one realizes that God is actually the supreme enjoyer, and we are all part and parcel of Him. That is Bhagavan realization. That our relationship with God exists eternally. That even after liberation, the relationship continues. That is where the devotees belong. They are called Bhagavan or Bhaktas. And their process is called Bhakti Yoga. The process of the Brahmanma Bhadis is called Jnana Yoga. The process of the Brahmanandis is called Samkhya Yoga. So all the yogas are there, and all the practitioners are there, but there is a degree of satisfaction that you get. The ultimate satisfaction you get it from Bhakti Yoga, and that is where we belong. The others are there. They are also transcendentalists, but the supreme transcendentalists are the Bhaktas. Okay, thank you very much. For now, we'll close so that when we come next time, if we have some questions, you churn out your questions so that we can address them. Then we address those 5 verses. I think it will be a little bit shorter than today. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
See you tomorrow. Haribo.
Yeah, what of you are calling also.
But I thought you have to be consistent now for henceforth.
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what of science? So your clothes is affecting you.
Eh?
Your clothes is affecting. The preaching is affecting your clothes more brighter.
It is
what of science because the knowledge is too much.
It is the Lord's mercy. So when the mercy becomes fully manifest, we see clearly. Hare Krishna.
We don't manifest with the same.
It never manifests. It never manifests fully. It takes time. So that
I heard the sound here. I heard the sound. The knowledge is too much.
See you tomorrow.
All glories.